good evening, gamers. Welcome to a Friday edition of Midnight Hatter Live, a weekly variety show where we talk Gundam gaming and Gunpla. Today we are back in the shop. We are going to be doing some Gunpla work. Hope you guys are down for a little surprise stream. Kick off your weekend. Hopefully you all had a great week. Looking forward to a cool, relaxing fall weekend. I have a lot of interesting things to show you guys. I hope that all are excited. I'm really excited about the progress that we're making on some of these little projects here and there. I swear that they're all still ongoing. Sometimes it feels like progress is a little start and stop, and that's why I lots of projects going on. But I can get little wins wherever I can. Hey, what's going on in the chat? I see Ultronimus, Ionic Shadow, Ayoshi. How you doing, my friend? Yes, thank you. The hat does look comfy. Let me make sure my chat pop-up's working. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So I'm just gonna dive right into it because we've been working on this Mercurius and Vayeate project. We've been doing past our resin copy of the radiator foil that goes in the Vayate's backpack. I don't know. I'm not quite as happy with as I was prior. So we'll see about maybe doing this to install some different LEDs. But yeah, we'll do what we can here. Oh, hey, what's going on, Blue Gamer? Good to see that, sir. Ohio, she just got home from jury duty, still ongoing. This is a tough trial, but please, don't share any details of it. At least not on stream. Well, I'm excited to test out. I've got a new app for my webcam, so hopefully we're not going to have any with the autofocus going, going crazy. Let me go ahead and hop into stream cam here, and the idea is hopefully, yeah, we've got a nice focus going on. Got the autofocus kicking off. So I wanted to show you guys what we have done with Curious, and because these are the old no grade 1 to 144 scale model kits, from the old wing days, right? So, you pop off the little faceplate here. Here's where that little mono eye would be, peg that faceplate flips into. And yeah, everything's just kind of held together like that. So let me show you the updates that I made to the Vayeate version. So with the Vayeate, I have used a little bit of Tamiya plastic cement to fuse visor. So cut the faceplate off right below here. That would be with the faceplate installed, right? And then I took that visor, like the cap part of it, and fused it to the top of the, or to the back of the mask there, and carved out the little window where the hole's going to be. Then we've got the rear of the head, which still connects pretty cleanly there. And then we've got the little mask, which we're going to have to find a new way to mount that in there. I'm thinking magnets. So I know I just don't know, like, show you guys the magnets that I. So this is a little 1mm stack of them, little 1mm diameter. Suppose I could install like one or two up here. Not sure where I'm gonna fit them on here, so we're gonna have to figure out where the magnets go to get this mask to flip on and off. But mainly, you know, the new P Bandai version of the is the same way as this, like where it's got the visor is connected to the head. I wish that I had the image handy to show you guys, because I pulled the image off of P Bandai and how the faceplates look out the masks. I think that they use like there's a little notch where the mat, like, well, how do I phrase this? So where the mono eye, I guess, even though they're kind of square, the little face TV goes, I think that it like grips on friction, but I'm not going to have that, unfortunately. So I'll need to figure out a way to do that. But meantime, I will show you guys the progress that we've made. So here is our little microcontroller. Guys, what about things attached to it? This is that Seed Studio Gao ESP32C3 microcontroller. And we have an LED to it. Now, this LED looks very similar to the one I've been using so far, but it is different in a very important way. Let me show you what that looks like. So here we have two LEDs. They're both 5 millimeters, 5 by 5 millimeters. One in left hand here was harvested from a LED light strip, and the one in my right hand is a Neopixel. Now, the difference between them is obviously they look extremely similar. They both light up in red, green, and blue. But if you flip them over, the one that's on the light strip has 6 contact points, whereas the Neopixel only has 4. So, what is the difference? Well, the difference is that this guy can be controlled with single data input. You know, I think we talked about this one where I've got the diagram here. So you have to put 5 volts to one of these 3 pins, and then you have a wire from each of the negative pins, which is a red and a green. And so depending on which one your connection is connected to, that's where light is going to come from. And then you can combine them in order to get different colors. Cool, cool. This guy, on the other hand, you only need a positive out, a negative out, and data out. And the data is what you feed in to get your color. So, I'll show you guys what that looks like. Now, before I do, hop into the chat and make sure I'm not missing anything. Here we go. Howdy, Barry. Good to see you, sir. Ayoshi looks neat. I'd like to think so. Not a hazel, not yet, anyway. And assuming that I have to make space to make those fit, yeah, maybe. I think that we're gonna be able to make it fit in here. Let me show you guys exactly what the benefit is of doing this, right? So let's get this back in frame. I'm gonna put the zippers on here to hold the weight in place. Hold on, let's try this. I'm like, gotta use as many hands as I can. Like Doc Ock over here. So here we've got the Arduino Cloud app on my phone. Yes, you guys can make fun of my old busted phone. And I have a little app here called Vayeate controller. Now, if we hop in, we've got a few different buttons here. What we can do is let's go ahead and hit the activate switch. Oh, anything? Oh, of course it works last night, but now it's not going. Yeah, this is just my luck, right? Make sure it's on. Let's go. Device menu. Ah, it is offline. Okay. If we can fix the issue with this thing, that you have to hold down set button, plug it in, that button. Oh, no, it's online. See? Yeah, we got the green. Sorry, you guys are getting all this reflection from my. All right, so we're going to hop into our Vayeate controller. How cool is that? Deactivate. So, what I have it set to do here is it flashes pink and red as it goes on, and then once it's stays illuminated in, and then it flashes. Now, when this thing is complete, we're going to be able to do all kinds of stuff. So, like, sheet on my app there. We've got the flutter, we've got fire Vayeate cannon. We're going to end up putting a whole bunch of controls for both the Vayeate and Mercurius. And the idea is that I'm going to be able to basically all of the LED from my app here. So the I guess the idea here is I'm trying to make it look like when the Mercurius and Vayeate were turned into mobile dolls for the White Fang, and like whenever they would lock on to an enemy target, they can do that flutter of red. And so like I'll hit this trigger to make them flutter in red. We can fire the Vayeate cannon, which will activate to the ring, and then of course the cannon. I'll have another button for the Mercurius, for the crash shield, for all of that stuff. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome when it all comes together. Now, right now, and so, okay, to come back to why I switched this LED over the RGB, is that these would require 4 pins in order to control them. Whereas with these guys, I can use any of them as I like, as long as I have a data pin to control each one. Or, more correctly, I can control each series of lights from a single data pin. Let me show you what that looks like in a larger application. Now, Xeonic Shadow, I see you in chat, so you're going to appreciate this. This is our pre-production Lfrith. I haven't forgotten about this. I've been working on it. And this little spaghetti monster is the series of LED lights that is to control the permit score system on the Lfrith. And you can see I've marked out on the chest where the lights are going to be installed. This solder job was disastrously difficult to do, and as you can see, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to install this. So we actually have I have a solution that we're going to hop into and fix, because I actually ended up ruining one of my data connections. I don't know if you can see it here, but on this tiny LED, I actually accidentally pulled the pin off. So now this one is totally fried. So I would have to replace it. But this entire series of LEDs can be controlled with just 3 wires. We've got our positive wire, our negative wire, and then a data wire. And then all of them are daisy chained to that same data wire. So similar to how we've got, positive wire, negative wire, and then data. Basically, this entire chain of lights could be controlled like that. And so the idea is, even if I were to replace this with an entire chain of these, I could control it with just 3 wires. And the positive and negative lead from all of the LEDs on both kits can all go to these 2 pins, which gives me a lot of pins here to control lots of different devices from this single unit. Eventually, we are going to migrate off of the Arduino cloud and make it a Bluetooth application so that it's not tied to Wi-Fi. We're not tethered and held down by that. We can connect from anywhere. But for now, we're using the Arduino cloud test. So basically, the reason that I carved out the face on the Vayeate is we're going to be replacing the faceplate with this guy. And it's basically just going to be the mask. I might end up making like a little lens to put over the face of it, but overall, I think that that's awesome. Best part is we can do it like, so you guys know the Vayeate flashes between red and pink, and the Mercurius flashes between yellow and green. So we're going to be able to control the 2 different colored lights from the single microcontroller. Very exciting stuff. Oh, let me hop in here. So, Ayoshi, the app you are using is from the LED manufacturer. No, actually, it's all open source stuff. So, like you can use the Blink app, which is another, open source Internet of Things controller. Unfortunately, my phone is so old and busted that it can't run the Blink app, so we're going to use the Arduino Cloud for now. But man, that's going to be fun to do. The fun is both ways, though. Yeah, exactly. Um, Trying to understand the duality and how it ties to everything. Yeah, so I mean, and I'm gonna, of course, as I do with all of these things, I'm gonna be sharing all of the code that I'm using, and share the app that I build so that people can follow along with this because I think that this stuff is cool, and you see a lot of this stuff, overseas, but I don't see enough American builders doing this kind of thing, and especially if we can make it something that's like you know turnkey and out of the box and works, that would be awesome. Now, of course, this is just the 5 by 5 millimeter light. These little doodads, these are the smallest version of the Neopixel lights that we um they are I think 1.5 by 1.5 oh gosh, I lost it. Here we go. Um so you see how it's got those little four quadrants on it? Man, I don't even know if I can get this in focus. All right, so this is actually the backside of the LED. And those are the four pins. So we've got a positive and negative, got our data in, and so you can string together as many of these. They're actually not designed to be hand soldered. They're designed to mounted to a board like this. But I get brave. Hope I don't lose that. Glad that they put them in these little static packs. But of course, old fumble Rooski over here. So now that we've got I just wanted to show you guys the test of this thing working, and we are going to end up. I only soldered it to these bridges so that we could test it out. I'm going to end up flipping those and putting on the wires differently, but for now, that is how it's going to look. So we need to figure out exactly how we're going to mount this inside the Vayeate's head. Very delicate about this whole procedure. Like that. The LED is going to sit in the thinking. Maybe, just maybe, if I can get it to sit still, we can put like a dab of UV resin on either side, and that will give us enough tension, like it'll reduce the tolerance of the mask so much that then the mask will be able to kind of clip onto the front, and we may not need, which would be ideal. But of course, holding this thing is the trickiest part. And then I have, like I said, once we get this guy in place, I am going to show you guys new technique for how I'm going this into that. So I frequently talk about like, why I not that I dislike the Bandai LED, like, I just think that they're a little overpriced for the value that you're getting. And so, I think it's beneficial for people uh to learn to do, you know, then you don't have to rely on Bandai. Uh Ooh, what's going on, Nintendo Gal? I prefer buying the pre-soldered Pico lights because they're such a pain to solder wires when there's that. Read, if I were working with just single color lights, that is actually my preferred method. Are these little guys? I really do wish that they had that they had. Sure, I'll be able to find it. But yes, what I do wish is I wish that they pre-soldered like these, And honestly, I might start doing that for people. You know, if you guys would be interested, let me know what you think would be a fair price to get these pre-soldered like this. Hook you up. Yes, I wish that they had the one you're talking about now that I soldered. Yeah, same. Ultranomous sounds like Bandai is relying on their brand. They are, you know, especially when they're using like those big old fat like plastic cased LEDs. Those things are annoying. So we're gonna try and dab a little bit of CA glue place to hold and hold our LED. I think if we use, I don't have any fix hand, but find some kind of application to have some bare silicone. We'll dab out silicone. That way we can apply it. I know that they sell those like nice little fine tip applicators, but you know, if I had that, then I wouldn't have money for the LEDs, right? Priorities, people. Now, take a look at this. That placement where we hold it in here for just a second. Probably would probably depends on the amount of time needed for these and how pieces agreed. Yeah, so I did find a relatively easier way to solder that to pre-solder these that I think reduces the workload. I think it's exactly how they do, you know, this nano zoom out. So this is a hot air rework gun. This is what you would use for soldering a PCB like this. And so that combination solder paste, which is basically tiny little metal balls that are suspended in flux, I assume, because of the way that it flows into the spaces. Put a little dab of this and blow hot air using a little fine tip, basically like a really fine tip, you know, blow dryer slash heat gun, and it melts down the paste and soldering for you. So even, I mean, man, that has made my life so much easier for relatively simple solder jobs, but I would not be able to if I did not hands on that first. But like I've got a little bit like an angle going, something I can use. Tap. Down with my tweezers. Forward. Pressure. This account to about 30 seconds. Watching you do this is making me want to grab my big box of Arduino stuff and start tinkering it again. I think you should. I been getting really into the Arduino game lately. Cutting out at the end. So now the biggest test lights up. Put all this. Right. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that Nintendo Gal. That your workbench has been dedicated to fixing Nintendo Switches. I think it's time for a break. I actually have been trying to fix my Nintendo Switch because SD card reader. At first, I thought it was the card, but the card actually works on my computer. Then, like, okay, well, let's get another card and see what happens. The card worked for a while. Now it doesn't. So now every card that I've tried, which I have to card read. Seeing that that's a fix. Playing with that kind of expensive makes me more quite happy with placement. Yeah, I probably should have welded visor on, but now I have seen pretty cool things. Saw that their Breath of the Wild cartridge plugs into the top of, lights up. Definitely do some cool maker stuff. Or the glue sets. Uh-oh. Mic cut in and out. That could be on account of the filters that I had going on. There we go. Should work a little bit better now. During last stream, I was having some audio issues, and so I put a noise gate on the mic, which helped, isolate everyone's audio, but it also makes it so that my voice will sometimes cut in and out if I'm speaking quietly. All right, I think that is going to be as good as we can get it. I think what's going on is so the wire here is pressing up against the wall of the unit, whereas on this side there's no wire that's pressing up against here, so it's making the light kind of crooked. So we're just gonna have to push it out a little bit. There we go. The other thing I'm going to have to do is paint the inside of the mask, because I have tested this before and the light shines through this plastic like nobody's business. So, yeah. So while that sets, let's work on Lfrith here. So what I had done before was I took the sticker sheet and I laid the sticker on a piece of tape, and then I taped the LEDs in place and soldered them, and then I took them off, and then, this is what I got, was this mess of LEDs. So instead of doing that again, here's what we're going to do. We are actually going to make a little mold, and from that mold, we are going to basically make a part that's going to sit on Lfrith's chest here. So if we cut the sticker sheet here, I'm going to save that sticker, even though I really don't have to, but just, it's always better to be safe. Let's see. I don't know what version you have, but usually in that case, it's a bent pin with the SD card reader. Probably easier to grab a new one, easy peasy replacement. Yeah, I see that they're not too expensive, like even on Amazon. So, yeah. What color would I paint the inside? Probably black. It just depends on what I have on hand. I wish I could get my hands on some black 3.0 so that it just absorbs the light. So here we've got a nice little thick sheet of pla plate. Actually, let me go ahead and let's see what the millimeter measurement on this bad boy is. So this is 1.5 millimeters, almost 1.5 millimeters thick. So it's a pretty hefty piece of pla plate. We're going to take the outline of the sticker if it'll come off here. There we go. Yeah, we're just going to take the sticker frame here, try not to tear it, and we are going to apply it to the pla plate. I want to make sure that we apply it nice and flat so that it's not misshapen when we go to cast our part. See, look, this has got just a little crease in it. Just a little guy. Let's smooth that out. And then the plan is to cut this out, and then we're going to cast this. And you might wonder, why are we going to cast this part? Well, what we're going to do is we are actually going to pot some of these LEDs in resin. I would just use plastic, but the problem is when I go to use the hot air rework station, it will melt the plot plate. So what we need is a resin part that's going to be heat proof that we can then, pot the LEDs in, and then we can just go ahead and uh, yeah, we're just gonna rock and roll with them, and we can solder right on the part, not have to worry about it. They're gonna be placed exactly where we want them to be. Um, yeah. So let's. It's like some super thick plot plate. I don't think I've ever worked with stuff this thick before. All right. Is Black 3.0 rare or just hella expensive? Just hella expensive. So Black 2.0, also known as Vanta Black, is the like super trademarked one that is way overpriced just because some guy you know made the formula proprietary. Black 3.0 is I guess uh, it would be the generic version. It's the Walgreens version of that Dimetap. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know what actually might be the way to go would be to just use a scribe. Hmm. If I weren't so terrible at scribing. Yeah. Um, AKA Great Value Dimetap. Exactly right. So how long have you been working on either Gunpla at the moment? So I only started the Mercurius and Vayeate project a couple of weeks ago. The Lfrith has been a longer time coming, and part of the reason behind that has been this LED setup. Now this LED project is going to be a lot more advanced because it is going to be linked to my smart home system. So I'm going to be able to say, Amazon permit score 4, and it's going to light up in orange and red lights, and then permit score 8, and it'll light up in blue lights. So that I'm very excited about. But yeah, the LEDs being a spaghetti mess, that was a huge setback for me on the Ilfrith. And so I was like, well, let's start with something that's going to be a little easier to control, which is one LED at a time, as with the um, Vayeate and Mercurius. Even though it's going to be more LEDs in total, I think, for the Vayeate and Mercurius, because they're only singular, as opposed to the big daisy chain that we've got going on with the Ilfrith. It's a little less complicated to work with. But now that I've gotten my feet wet with the cloud, I think that it's going to go a lot smoother. Yeah, this is a lot easier to do with the hobby knife than with the little gun primer Greta. So we're just basically using this sticker as a stencil for what we're going to do. And what's crazy is I actually already scanned the sticker into my computer, because what we're going to do there is, I don't know if I have it handy. I probably don't. So there's the clear plastic piece that goes over top. It plugs into these two little pins here, and that like is the glass plate that goes over the top of the chest. That actually doesn't have like a mask for all of the pattern, right? So what I'm going to do is I traced this pattern in Adobe Illustrator, and I made it just black and white instead of black with the color bands on it. And I'm going to print that as a water slide decal that we're going to apply to the underside of the shield that goes here. And that is what's going to mask off the lights to give you the pattern on the chest. I actually got the idea from another YouTuber. I would totally butcher the pronunciation of his name if I tried. But believe it or not, he actually did it as a sticker, and I'm gonna do it as a water slide decal because, you know, I'm extra like that. I actually don't care if I overshoot this because I'm just gonna, that'll be the side that I glue down anyway. We'll use the smooth side for the good side. All right, let's take the sticker off and see where we're at. I probably shouldn't do this, but and then that's the other thing is like, so for instance, with that water slide decal, you know, and that, again, I'm going to talk about having multiple projects going at once, is, you know, to print a water slide decal this small. I'm obviously going to print more than one because, you know, in case I screw up, it'll be nice to have multiples. That way I can, you know, apply several. But, you know, an 8.5 by 11 sheet of water slide decal paper, a little costly. So I have a couple of other projects that we're going to be using that decal paper for. One of which is another diorama piece that I had been planning for a long time. And I just have not gotten around to, you know, really working on it. It's a city scene that takes place during the 1 Year War, and I've shown it off on stream before. The little tiny circuits, miniature LED, like the miniature TV, and we're gonna use that as like a billboard that's, you know, airing the Giranzabi speech. Looks like I missed these two, so let's just connect those 2 points. But yeah, so we'll be, you know, kind of airing the Giranzabi speech. Now you might be wondering, what am I going to print water slide decals of for that? Well, I had the idea to put like graffiti on some of those like wrecked buildings that you can buy. And so I'm going to put like graffiti and, you know, little Xeon propaganda posters and all that kind of good stuff. So that I'm excited about as well. But that means that I don't have to waste an entire sheet of water slide decal paper just for these. Hey, what's going on, McDo? Good to see you, my friend. It's been too long. Okay. Oh, now that's a good idea. Sneak a little Zeke New York poster in there. Okay. And again, I went for a nice thick piece of plot plate. I don't know that I necessarily needed to go this thick with it, but you know, better thick than sorry. Let's go ahead and snap all these pieces off here. All right. So far, this is coming out very clean. I'm a little impressed with myself. All right, now we're going to get the real delicate work here. Be down with the thickness, yes. Joshua says, that's how I like my women. Better thick than sorry. Yeah, exactly right. Wait, what am I talking about? Oh, snapped off a little bit of my hobby knife. I really hate when that happens. All right, so let's get in here with the Big Daddy. I mean, it's looking pretty spot on so far. Okay. Right here. Man, we are applying lots of cutting pressure here. There we go. I'm trying not to break it because it's very, as you can see, kind of sensitive right there. It's a very weak point in the plastic. Yeah, I typically don't cut myself these days anymore, but I do burn myself quite often when I'm soldering things. Let's see if we can just snap this out here. You know what? I can live with that. Basically going with the old chisel technique here where we chop it up a lot and then we can come in after the fact and break out all this little debris. Ooh, that is sensitive. I might go in there and try to repair it a little bit with some plastic cement. Man, this is all jacked up. Yeah, I think I might need to. Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't screw up at least once. Let's try that again. What do you think? Last chance, friends. I'm using a much thinner piece of plot plate this time around, just for the sake of accuracy. And this way I can kind of get in here with the hobby knife and just like hopefully press down to get my cut instead of working with that, 2 millimeter thick. Put a score mark in here. See, that is so much easier to do. Yeah, amen. Zeonic Shadow. Mistakes are the best lessons. That's why I don't edit them out. As if you guys needed more evidence that I'm human. Let's just press down, get that cut there. We're going to come here and our blade with the sticker. And like, I mean, look how much cleaner that is with just the scoring. Yes, sir. So then the question becomes, what mold material are we going to use for this mold? Do we ride with the new mold of choice, Siliknot, for a silicone-like accurate mold? Or do we go with the tried and true Oyumaru, which although it yields fewer details, is a little faster to work with? Oh, hey, what's going on, Taco? No mistakes for me on Exia today. Started the chest frame, finished where the arms and chest meet. Nice. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to need a ton of detail because it is just a flat piece of plastic that we're casting. And I guess I do feel better about it knowing that it's going to be thinner because man, I'm about to slice my hand off with some of this stupid stuff I'm doing. Alright, I think we've scored it enough that we can snap that off. Yeah, it's looking much better so far. Yeah, it's just, cutting in here where, you kind of have this very sensitive area. It's not very structurally sound. And I'm sure the way that I'm cutting doesn't help. We're just going to leave that score mark there, and then I'm actually going to just try and trace in here with my chisel and hope for the best. Trying not to screw the sticker up because I've only got one. Going with the lightest possible touch that I can. But as you guys know, I am basically Lenny from Of Mice and Men. And Heavy Touch is my middle name. Yeah, let's see. This is like me parallel parking. I'm like getting all quiet. Shh. Turn the radio down so I can see better. Ooh, just sliced right through the sticker. Have you guys ever noticed that when you're scribing, like once you have gone off the line, even if you've got like a nice deep score mark going, once you go off the line, like it becomes ridiculously easy to go off again. I'm gonna try something crazy. You know what? Actually, let's use some more precise nippers here. I mean, they're still not that precise because they're the ones that came with like the cheapo Amazon, my first Gunpla kit set. But ooh, I can actually see where it's split there. But maybe we can salvage it. Okay. Yeah, we'll hit that with a little plastic cement. Clean it up just fine. Now I can come in here and be as reckless as I want. There we go. Then we'll just shave this down until it matches the outline of the sticker. It's like, yes, I'm cutting away from myself, but then I'm cutting right back towards my other finger. So it's like, I'm cutting away from myself towards myself. Then, like here, we gotta trim this in. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. Worst comes to worst, I just leave the sticker on here and say screw the LEDs and just put this on. Nah, I'm in too deep now to bail on this. All right. Come in here and just like cut away some of these little bits. little bits. Then we can slice off this little bit. I think if we just shave this guy down, we'll get a little smoother. It's starting to look pretty good. Yeah. Now I am going to have to kind of shave this down by, I guess, however many millimeters to make this fit underneath the part that goes over it. But, you know, one step at a time. Now, if I were to make some Cosmos LED style, like if I were to just make a bunch of potted LEDs like this that were compatible with the Calibarn, the Ariel, the Lfrith, all of the Witch from Mercury kits that require permit score LEDs, what do you guys would think be a fair price on those? I would do all the wiring for you ahead of time. All you would need to do is sand down your parts so that you could then mount the chest plate into place. Then you would be rocking and rolling with some permit score LEDs. And it's for the high grade, not the full mechanics, so you got that going for you as well. See, I can already see that this one's coming off. See, so we're going to get in there with just a little bit of reinforcing agent here, aka the old plastic cement. Let's just let that set up. Don't want to keep messing with it while it's doing its thing. So now, let's revisit our Vayeate, which looks like it's pretty well fixed in place now. Oh yeah, that is hardened up real nice. So, before we sign off for the evening, because obviously I don't have my mold materials handy at the desk right now, let's wire this guy up and see if it still works even after gluing inside of its holster here. So we got our pins in place. We're going to hold our reset button and connect. Get whatever this is. Get some plastic on the face. Oh, probably help if you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, let's pull the app up. All right, let's make sure. So, says that the device is on. Vayeate controller on. Pretty cool. So yeah, like I said, you can see that the light shines through the face. But man, that is cool. I'm just gonna keep doing this the rest of the night. I mean, come on. That is just sick. I might make that the new thumbnail for the video. Is just like, wow. But yeah, I mean, you can see how sheer this plastic is, right? Oh man, it's bright when you take that off. So what I'll probably end up doing is putting like kind of a plastic frame. I'll use a little bit of plot plate and just kind of like cut off little slivers to make a plastic frame, and then we'll put some kind of lens material over it. Just something to help diffuse the light so that it's not as bright. Uh, but so far I'm pretty happy with how it is coming along. Man, I never get tired of this. And Ultronomus, yes, a soundboard is not out of the question on account of the fact that like I can just wire up a microphone to the I can wire up a microphone to the controller as well. So that is all for this evening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that come together. I know I sure enjoyed making it come together. We are going to, obviously, next step is going to be potting those nano Neopixels inside of the resin copy of that plot plate shape, and from there we can start lighting up the Lfrith. So it's man, see, this is the kind of stuff that I've been trying to do for like months and just have not been able to find success doing it. So it's very exciting for me to be at this stage of it. And so I think it's going to only get cooler once we start putting in more LEDs, putting in more switches that we can use to control stuff, adding in more colors. The nice thing about these is, again, just from one data line, you can get a whole chain going where it's like, different lights will flicker on at different times and different colors. And so the app that I wrote for the Lfrith, the way it works is like, because it daisy chains like this, where it's like LED 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so 1 and 8 come on, and then 2 and 7, and then 3 and 6, and so on. So it's like where it like goes up the chest, and then it goes from orange to red, and then when we go to permit score 8, it will go like light blue to dark blue. So, hope you guys enjoyed this little peek under the hood of Hatter's Chop Shop. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night and a fantastic weekend. We're definitely going to be doing a lot more of this in the coming weeks, leading up to, maybe we'll have Virgo. My Ultronomus has gotten in my head with the Virgo's big square eye thing, but with a Mercurius and Vayeate Christmas for Endless Waltz celebration. So, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.